What's up, Big Bob? And
Hey, what's up?
Kyle Witherspoon's with us. Kyle's with Johnny's Taverns here in Kansas City. Before we start, a special shout out to our executive producer, Brent, who is also the founder and head poopah at the Make the Best You Foundation. Thank you very much, Brendan. Kyle, I want to know all about your life story.
Boy, that could take a lot longer than we have.
It's 3:05. Let's get started.
Well, I think the part that you wanted to talk about pertaining to me, I've been in the restaurant business for over 30 years now. And
Will you start when you're 14?
no, but thank you. And I started out bartending and working the door at a little tavern in Lawrence, Kansas when I was in college. And now with my partners, we have 13 restaurants from Topeka to Raymore and almost 1,000 employees, and are an integral part of the community in all the different areas of Kansas City.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Very, very
Thank
proud
you.
of yourself.
Thank you.
How you got there is an amazing story. I'd like to share that with you. So you started out sweeping floors and working the door. What happens next?
Well, there's a lot of things in between there, but I can remember I may have shared a story with you. Rick Renfro is one of my partners, and he's in his late 60s now, and
That's so old.
yes, and he was the president of the KU rugby team, and I was bartending, working the door in college, and he said, "Hey, I'm going on a 2-month rugby trip. I'm going to be gone for 2 months with the team." And my college roommate at the time, both worked there, and now he's one of our partners, and he called us to his office. And both of us were like, "Well, what did you do wrong last night? What are we in trouble for?"
Is there any money missing?
And he handed us a dozen free rounds of golf apiece on this little card. He said, here's a dozen free rounds of golf. I'm going to be gone for 2 months.
So that's how you learn how to play golf.
Yes.
Which course?
Well, that was Albemarle at the time.
Oh, I know.
Oh, that's a piece of course.
Yeah.
And he said 3 things. He said, go to the bank every morning, lock the doors every night, and don't burn the place down when I'm done. I'll see you guys in 2 months. And I jokingly say, and I'd say that to this day, that was my formal restaurant management training, was that 10-minute conversation. And we kind of been rolling ever since.
Did you have a formal education?
I did 6.5 years of college with no degree.
What were you studying though?
Does it matter?
Yes, I want to know.
No, he wasn't studying. That's why it took him 6.5
okay.
years.
Public speaking.
Public speaking.
Philosophy,
never-
public
I would
speaking,
never guess that.
political science. I kind of bounced around to a lot of
Wow.
those. My dad finally told me that everybody else that was there for as long as I were doctors. And so I just kind of, this is what I've been doing my whole life. I can't remember another job I've ever had other than being in the restaurant business.
So what do you do now day to day?
I still go into restaurants every single day. And when I'm in there, I still pick up trash off the floor. I'll do a load of dishes. I'll help in the kitchen. I will bust tables. I would say what most of my time is talking with people, visiting with the customers, visiting with the people, and visiting with the staff as well. And so
I got 2 stories that I can relate to.
sure.
As you know, I'm a storyteller, and does too. So I'm working at a retailer in Sarasota, Florida, and the owner comes in on a Sunday morning. He says, "Hi." He goes straight to the back and he starts cleaning the bathrooms. And I said, "Mr. Johnson, I can clean the bathrooms. You don't have to do that." He says, "No, it's part of my job." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "If the owner will do the dirtiest, nastiest job in the building, the rest of the employees should have no problems following his instructions of what else needs to be done."
Yep.
And so I go in the bathrooms every day, every Sunday, clean the bathrooms, because I'm going to come back to you and say, "I need you this, this, and this," and I don't want to hear why you can't do it.
And that's one of the, when a new manager gets promoted, because we don't, I can't remember the last time we hired a manager from an outside source. And I think that's been one of the recipes for our success, is people see a path to promotion inside of our business. But that's one of the first things when we hire or promote a new manager. I'll sit them down and say, "Hey, look, you're going to have to ask people to do things, not tell people to do things, ask people to do things. And if they don't see you, if you're not the hardest working person in the building, or if they don't see you do what you're going to someday have to ask them to do, then they're not going to respect you, and you're not going to be an effective manager. So that is one of the things that in the very first sit down I have when a manager is promoted, that's one of the things that I try to enforce with them.
How did you expand so fast?
Well, it really hasn't been a fast expansion if you look at it, right? We opened our first store in Kansas City in 1991. And so that would have been
One
number
store
two.
every 3 years.
Every 2 or 3 years, right? And we go
So
slow, and we're very calculated. And I think that's one of the good things. The ownership team we have now is there's 6 of us that sit at a table. We make those global level decisions, and there's a lot of differing opinions, and so it takes us a long time to hash through those things and hear everybody's voice. And sometimes we've passed on things that we didn't think that were good, or there's been times when the table was split. But it'd be 6 months later, we're having the same conversations, and we finally come together as a group decision. So we move slow and calculated in those decisions.
I make a suggestion: either dump one or add one.
Right.
6 is a terrible number.
It is. It is a rough number, but
Do you have the trump card?
no, we don't have a trump card. We really don't. We've never gone to a trump card. Here's one of those
30
things.
years, no trump card.
Here's one of those things. We have operating agreements. We have business agreements. We have all these things that we sign, and they're in a file cabinet that we've never ever opened one time in 30 years.
Wow.
About voting or how do we get this, because
Solving a problem, a challenge.
we've never ever had to go to the file cabinet.
How many loud discussions have you had around the table?
Weekly.
Loud?
Yeah, and then we go play golf afterwards.
Any profanity?
Yeah.
We're not allowed to use fucking profanity.
What you just-
But yes, all those things. There's those heated discussions, and we storm out of meetings sometimes, and that's part of a partnership. And we all respect each other, and we all come back next week, and we'll have side conversations in between our weekly meetings, and just work it out.
So over our conversations, because we have a relationship outside of business, I've always said, why are you not franchising? And you said, well, it's not for us. It's not for us. And then eventually you told me how you expand.
Right.
And I thought it was brilliant.
Right. So, one of the things I think that you're getting to is that we at our 13 locations, we have 13 managing partners, right? And we have decided that it's in our best interest to sell ownership in our stores to the people that are there every single day making the difference. And we have done that. And we have 13 managing partners, and between 5 and 30% of every store that we have. And some of them have ownership in a couple of different locations because we've moved them around. And our thought process, one thought process is say, I want to make 100% of the money all the time in any business you have. But another thought process is, well, if I only have 80% ownership, maybe I can make more money off that 80% than I could 100% if I take care of the people around me. And, one of the things, Dave, that I think goes to this point is I've said all along, I'm not, we have 13 locations. We have close to 1,000 employees, all those but none of those things are what I'm the most proud of. What I'm the most proud is if you walk in a store and a server or bartender or manager would come to your table, and if you want to stop, hey, how long have you worked for Johnny's? How long have you been here? And the answer will range between 30 years, 15 years, 12 years, 10 years, 5 years.
Wow, longevity.
I always thought you were most proud of your wins.
No, but they're good though. But that's really that kind of tells the story. And I always say, look, if somebody leaves because they want a 9-to-5 office job and that suits their personal life, then that's great. I'm happy for them and I wish them well. If somebody leaves to go work at a different restaurant inside of our industry, I feel like I failed them.
Absolutely.
Somehow.
Absolutely.
And so that's the
How many people have you put in jail for stealing from you?
0.
How many people could you have put in jail from stealing from you? That you caught? That you
hundreds over the years, maybe.
You caught 100?
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
It's
Because before you answer, I used to have a welcome to Big Bob speech.
Mhm.
My welcome to Big Bob speech was, welcome to Big Bob's. This is 20 years ago. If you show up late or drunk, we won't fire you. If you show up late, drunk, and you tell my customers to eat shit and die, I probably won't fire you. If you come in late, drunk, tell my customer eat shit and die, and punch me in the mouth, there might be a way of resolving our differences. But if you steal from me, it's black and white, non-negotiable. If your grandmother needs a 4x6 to put into her bathroom, ask me. Let me sell it to you at cost. Let me sell it to you at an employee discount. Let me give it to you.
Right.
Don't take it.
Yeah.
If you need a bottle of cleaner, ask me. Let me give it to you, sell you at cost or an employee discount. Don't take it because it's non-negotiable, black and white.
Yeah. And that's,
Welcome to Big Bob's.
and that's just saying, it's just saying that is a non-negotiable deal. And some of your okay lists aren't on my okay list,
Well,
but
this is 20 years ago.
Right.
I was a lot younger.
you know,
I could take a bunch
I
of
always
them
use the analogy when we had our meetings. I'd say, look, you know, if you're giving somebody a bottle of beer away, it's the same exact thing as if I'm at home at night sleeping and you sneak into my house and you go to my nightstand and you open my wallet and you take $5 out of my wallet and then close it and then sneak back out of my house. It's the same exact thing. But I've said all along, look, I know what it's, I've spent years behind a bar. I know your friends come in, you're a bartender, you want to be able to take care of them.
Right.
I said, fine, buy them a round of drinks, but ring it in so I know where it's going. As long as you account for it and it's above board, I have no problem with you doing that. Now, if you're doing it every night and the whole fraternity house is coming in, we may have a separate conversation, but I have no problem with you buying a round of beers or a round of shots as long as it is accounted for and I know what's going on.
And they still don't respect you or have enough core values to abide by that very, very simple line.
I mean, yeah, people, you know, people get in difficult situations sometimes. It's not hard for everybody to ask for help. And so sometimes people do take advantage where they can. And we're in a cash business. And so the ability to do it for, you know, for us is, you know, the checks and balances.
One for you, one for them?
Yeah.
Well, I got a question I'm dying to ask, because with any business, it's the relationships that matter, particularly, you know, the networking and everything. And I'm always curious because your Rolodex, for those of you who don't know what a Rolodex is.
He still has one?
Yeah.
Wait, why do you always have to say how old I am?
You're not, you just like to go antique shopping. And you know that, okay? But, you know so many people. How did you two meet and establish a relationship?
Poker.
Poker. For how long have you known each other?
5 years, 6 years.
Maybe longer.
Maybe longer.
You know, here's a funny story. We were, and I don't even know if he remembers this, and I don't know how much you know about poker, but we hadn't established a relationship. I'd seen him in the poker room a few times, and we're playing cards, and I get a hand that I don't think can be beat. I can't remember what it was. It may have been, I may have had quads, and I'm betting into my hand, and he's 2 seats over, and he's just limping along calling, and I go all in, and he calls me, and he flips over the only hand in the entire deck that could beat me. And this was like 10 years ago, and that was one of the first times I remember playing cards with Dave.
Thank you. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Yeah, no, but it did.
You guys still play?
Weekly.
Bi-weekly sometimes.
Yeah. So,
And Kyle happens to be a much, much better poker player than me.
well,
He's a lot more disciplined and he's a lot more patient. In poker, there's basically 4 components of being a good poker player. You have to have card sense, money management, know your odds, a lot of arithmetic, and patience and luck. I have no patience.
That's true.
It's an automatic.
he does.
Right. I don't. It's an automatic loser to go into any form of gambling without discipline and patience. You can't possibly win unless lightning strikes and you get lucky. By the way, I've been hit by lightning a couple of times
Yes,
in the poker room.
You know, the thing is, though, is it's so weird, you know, because I play poker because I think it's chess with cards, right? And it's great mental exercise for me. And so that's how I kind of got tied into it more than anything else. But then, you know, over the past 5 or 10 years, I've developed a group of friends in the poker community here in Kansas City that, you know, now we have phone numbers and we play a few times a week. And what's crazy is it's again, a great option. You get 10 guys sitting around a table, right? And at the table that Dave and I are at the table, and you have an electrician.
Excuse me. My real name is David, but everybody else in the world refers to me as Big Bob.
Among other things.
Yes.
See, there you go. That's sassy.
I have to be sassy.
Yeah. You can't be just good looking. You got to be sassy.
Sassy.
You know, it's a great, you know, us, and you'll be an electrician. There'll be an 18-year-old kid who doesn't have 2
21.
nickels to it. 21-year-old kid. He doesn't have two nickels to rub together. They'll be the biggest real estate tycoon in Kansas City sitting at the table with us. And so it's a huge mix of different people and personality and backgrounds that are all part of, I consider friends now just because we met in the game of poker. Yeah.
Okay, let's go full circle, bring this back around. Tell us about the menu at Johnny's.
Oh, yeah.
But by the way, if this is not the first, it's the second time we've mentioned Johnny's Taverns.
Thank you.
Johnny's Taverns, 13 locations in the Metroplex. By far the best bar food anywhere in Kansas City metropolitan area. Tell me about your.
Is there a bill for the plug on this deal at the end of the? Is that what's going
hit
on
the applaud
afterwards?
button. Somebody hit the applaud button. Okay.
It's funny because 15 years ago, we were a bar that served food. And we had pool tables and all those things. And the industry kind of changed. Smoking ban came into effect. We don't have pool tables anymore. And, we kind of pivoted and now we consider ourselves a restaurant that serves beer and liquor. And so.
And not a sports bar.
We're sports bars 100%. That's who we are. That's our core value. The
Right.
Sports bars, the TVs, the whole 9 yards. But we think that we have one of the best bar menus. We're not competing with Capital Grill.
Yeah.
We've had those conversations, right? Those kind of places. But as far as a bar menu and like places, I think we have the best one in the city. And
$15 and under entrees,
Yes.
you got the best menu in town.
I think so. Yes.
Tell me the top 3 sellers.
Our Wilson wings we sell truckloads of those, and those are fantastic.
Oh, wait, that's a great segue. Tell me about your chicken wing purchases during the pandemic.
Well, we bought a lot of them in advance, and
How many is a lot?
I don't even know. Semi trucks full.
Trucks full.
Yes.
And you had to buy 3, 4, 5, 8 trucks full?
Yeah, I don't remember how many, but at the time.
And you had to keep them in storage?
Well, somebody did for us. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they're
To just make sure you got the right price,
Yes.
because they're about to climb through the roof.
But we developed our own sauces. We have our own Wilson sauce and wing sauce. We sell them at Hen House, Price Choppers, all the restaurants in town. And we developed the Wilson sauce. My partner, Pat Roberts, kind of perfected the recipe. And I call it a cross between a wing sauce and a barbecue sauce. And so we we fry our wings, and then we dip them in that sauce, and then we finish them on the charbroiler. So it really caramelizes the sauce, and you get the grill marks on them and those kind of things.
Oh, wow.
And
30 grill every day.
What's that? Every day.
Every
day.
10
Yes.
seconds, a new.
But hands down, that's our most popular menu item.
Are you still serving Bud Light
Yes.
by the buckets, or is it cut down a little bit?
It's funny. It's some stores it has and some stores it hasn't. And it's all the demographics of the city, just like it's the demographics of the country and the state and everything
I
else.
just thought I'd ask, since I have nobody else to ask firsthand
Right.
if they've been affected.
Right.
I guess you just have to understand the backstory, right?
Well, I didn't ask if he shops at Target. I wanted to know if he's still selling light beer.
Right. Yeah,
Bud
we
Light.
are. Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand you have your own beer.
We do. Free State Brewery in Lawrence brews Johnny's Tavern Blue Collar Lager. And you can only get it at Johnny's Tavern. We have it on tap at every single location we have. There are plans to come out with a white collar lager.
So it will be your second SKU?
Yes.
All right.
Wow.
And then there's also talk about putting it on a production line and canning it to be able to have it at
That would
cans
be
and sell.
awesome.
That's what I thought too. So
Yeah.
Any plans of moving out of Kansas City?
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah, we have discussions all the time, and our deal, David, we've talked more people out of it. We've talked more people out of it than somebody says, this is great. I want to be in the bar business. Can I open one up in Oklahoma City? Well, sure. Come and talk to us.
One of your employees?
No,
Or somebody strange?
Somebody strange.
Can't do business with a stranger, not with your concept, because you have to supply everything from the napkin. I mean, can you duplicate what McDonald's does? Maybe, maybe not, but it's a huge risk, and your name's at stake.
Yeah.
So the only way it works is if one of your managers wants to move to Oklahoma City
Right. And
and
there's
take on that whole
And there's
territory.
talks of that too. We've talked to some collaboration stuff, Wichita, we're talking some stuff, maybe Arkansas, some different markets like that to test and see what that would look like for that kind of expansion.
Is there a scale that makes you more profitable if you double in size? Does it reduce the fixed overheads if you double in size?
It's like anything else, right? Like I spent a lot of time at our store in the Power and Light District downtown, right? There's a 18,000 seat arena across the street, and it can go, most of the time people call me and say, hey, can I get a reservation down here for Brooks and Dunn concert? And I'll say no, but if you want one on Tuesday night, I'll be more than happy to get one for you, right? So it's kind of like the old concept, the airline industry. The plane's leaving whether it's full or not, right? And so, you want to try to maximize those times where the plane's not full to kind of get people down on.
How do you get people in when there's no concert?
Well, that takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes focus.
How do you build a customer base?
Comeback sauce.
The comeback sauce.
I've heard of that.
Yes.
Comeback sauce.
I have too.
McGonigal's Deli here in Kansas City.
Have you been to there since they reopened?
I have not.
Right.
But, and I can't remember the lady. She wrote a book, Life Lessons.
Mary Lucas, a good friend of mine.
Yes.
Lunch Meat and Life Lessons.
Fantastic.
The Bicklemeyer family.
Yes.
Bicklemeyer Meats.
Yes, Bicklemeyer. And she came and spoke to all of her managers one day, and her book and her message just hit with me. And this was 15 years ago, and I've never forgotten the expression comeback sauce.
Her
And
dad coined it.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
And it gets to the heart of everything. It really, really does. And, and one of the things that's changed, I think, that is really important that people lose sight of in business a lot is everybody focuses on comeback sauce for your customers, right? What can you do to, like you just said, to get people back in the door on those up nights or create repeat business, those kind of things. But I think where people miss the boat is comeback sauce with employees, with staff. That you can use those same principles to create those long-lasting bonds with your staff and employees, and that you will get tenfold in return.
Look, it's a lot easier to find a new customer than it is to find a new employee.
Yep.
Right?
What a fantastic book, though.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
She inspired me to write my
Is she
grandmother's
still alive?
book. Yeah, we're still friends. She's the one that
Maybe
inspired
you want
me.
to put her in the
I
hot
should,
seat.
yeah.
Yep, she's fantastic.
She is amazing.
Yes.
She comes from a huge family, like 12 kids.
Maybe she'll bring us some ribeyes or something.
I got you. Ribeye. You get some ribeye. Big Bob.
Wait. I didn't know you sell ribeye.
I get them from I have a cattle guy in Western Kansas. I buy beef from all the time. And
Why don't you set up a little something, so that some of your friends can come by for a...
that's what I was just saying. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'll get you.
I'm curious too, though. They say when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. But obviously, you have to play. What is your work week like? How many hours do you devote to this?
It depends on what's going on that week, right? And my life has changed a lot in the last 10 years. And
How old are you now?
I'll be 55 this year.
Double nickel.
And I have the great pleasure and honor of having a 10-year-old son at the age of 55.
Wow.
And so, I have an older son who's already graduated business school at KU, and he's out in the world. And when he was 10, I was bartending Saturday nights, worrying about, how am I going to pay my car payment and still hustling and grinding and down in the restaurants all that time, right? And so the gift I have for the second time around, I'm in a different place in my life where I'm home when he gets off from school every night and get to spend that kind of time with him and do those things. So, the picture has changed over the years, right? But I mean, we have an office I go to weekly. I'm in a restaurant every day. And it's just kind of where the biggest fire is. Hey, do I need to run to Blue Springs or Lee Summit or going to Lawrence? Or a lot of it, that cell phone is my office.
There you go.
Right?
Is the other 5 partners as committed time-wise?
Well, so, I have 2 partners that are 68. I have one that's 60. Me and my college roommate, who I told earlier, we're the same age. And I have another partner who's in his mid-40s now. And so the older partners aren't in the stores as much, but they're still at the table every week, and they handle a lot of the stuff with lease negotiations. And
Is there a succession plan for those 3 seats?
we're working through it now.
Will their family sit down, or will it come from the ranks up?
Right. Yeah.
Have you ever thought of bringing in outside perspective?
And we have a little bit, yes.
I mean, if you hire somebody who used to work for Capitol Grill,
Right.
maybe you get a different perspective of how to run your same business.
Right.
I'm not suggesting go to Peanuts, because
Right.
you run a much better organization than they do. But
Right.
if there's somebody who runs a better restaurant group, maybe they have
Right.
respect.
You know, and we're smart enough to know that we're not the smartest guys in the room, right? And so
I think you're very smart.
but one of the things, you know, that's great, being in this city and this business for so long, is we've developed relationships with our competitors. And I could name 10 different restaurant chains in Kansas City, and the owners of those group we consider some of our best friends. And we have phone calls all the time. Hey, how are you handling this? Or what's going on with this? Or how do you guys deal with this? And so, you know, our frame of mind is, you know, all of us trying to prosper and do better in this business. And so
As long as you're not stealing each other's employees.
yeah, no, and we've been down that road with a few people, and but no, we all respect each other, and we have great relationships, and has been a great city and a great group of restaurateurs across the city to become friends with and exchange ideas with.
I think you might be the biggest restaurateur in Kansas City.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Gross sales.
No.
Think about this.
No.
No?
No. I mean,
Privately owned? I mean, not take away national chains?
but I mean, if you think about, you know, the price point on, you know, like you mentioned earlier, we're $15 as
Right.
our top value. You know, I tell people, you know, hey, I'm making money $5 on $5 bills, right? If you go into other restaurants and, you know, we'll go out to dinner and it'll be a couple $100 for dinner for one table
Yeah,
turn, that kind
But
of
they
thing.
got one table,
Yeah.
one store, you got
Now, if every month was March, and if KU won the national championship every year, and the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl every year, and all of those things, then that might be a different story.
How was the parade weekend? Was that big?
Fantastic.
Was it?
I mean,
You weren't one of those businesses saying, you know, the parade killed my business.
no, that was the draft.
Yeah,
but
that was
Oh, the
it, the
draft,
draft.
yeah,
How was the draft?
it was fine. You know, it was great
All
for the
about
city.
expectations.
Yeah, it really is. But, you know, it's, I mean, being in the sports bar business in this town right now with the success of the Chiefs and the Jayhawks and the Wildcats and all those things, I mean, it's a
You forgot
fun.
to mention the Royals.
And the Royals. Well, I mean, even the World
Wait a
Series,
minute.
and
If
the
the
Royals,
Royals move downtown, is that good for your business?
I think it will be, yes.
We have another store downtown if they move downtown?
No, because I think
Right, I mean, the
I
other
think it'll
one-
be close. It was funny. I was down there working at our store downtown when the Royals were getting ready. They were getting ready to win the World Series, and it got to be like the 7th inning or something. And I thought, this town hasn't seen the World Series in decades. He's like, I'm leaving now because if we win, they're going to come down and start overturning
Rush.
cars. And so I remember running out of the building like a 7th inning and going home just in case it got like that.
2014, the Royals set a major league playoff record that will never, ever be broken. You know what that record is?
No.
10-4 in the playoffs and not win the World Series.
Wow. And that came
They
down
won
to
10 games, lost 4, and didn't win the World Series.
who was the pitcher for the Giants that shut him down? He won all 3 of the games in the win.
Yeah,
yeah.
He was there.
Brett Bauer or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know, but he was the guy that spoiled the 14 run for the Royals.
They won the playoff game, 3-0 sweep, 3-0 sweep, 3-4 loss.
I say I've been to the Masters, I've been to the Final Four, I've been to World Series, a lot of major sporting events. And I listed, I was at 2008, I was in San Antonio for Mario's Miracle Shot when KU won the national championship. And I said, that will forever be my #1 live sports
Until
memory. But I was also at the play-in game, the Royals-A's game where we came back. And there were in the seats next to me when we came back, they were empty. People had left. We were down 6 or 8 to 1 or something. People had gotten, and we came back and won. And that moved to #2 on live sports moments for me ever being present for. It was fantastic.
I'll tell you my #1. My #1 was I was a coach at the University of Pittsburgh. We're playing Notre Dame, which ended up having 5 guys drafted in the NFL on defense. Dorsett went for 303 yards on the ground, rushing the football against an all-American defense,
Right.
and just absolutely crushed them.
That's fantastic.
It was more of a heartthrob than winning the national championship.
Right.
It was just amazing, breathtaking to
And you had a
watch.
great seat for that game.
Not
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
not really. On the sideline, You're standing on the sideline.
Right.
If you want to watch the game, you want to be in the coach's box.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because when you're on the sideline, you can't see the other side of the field because fields are like this,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And there's a hump in them,
Right.
right? And so you can't see the
Yeah,
other
good
side,
point. Good point.
right?
Yep.
So, misnomer. Most people think standing on the sideline is the best seat. No.
Yeah.
What would you like to share with all of America
Mhm.
about Kyle Witherspoon and Johnny's Tavern? That if you had a few seconds or minutes left, you want everybody to know.
Yeah, I do. I feel lucky more than anything that the business has turned out. I think a lot of
Worked
luck.
hard, got lucky, wasn't
Yeah.
smart.
Yes,
I got
yes, all those things, right? And one of the things you kind of talked about what you enjoy about your job and that kind of stuff. I mean, for me, people ask me that a long time. I said, the best thing about my job is I get to wear tennis shoes and a ball cap
There you
every day
go.
to work, and no 2 days are the same. I mean, you walk in, you unlock those doors in the restaurant in the morning, and you have no idea which way things are going to go. And the main thing is I tell people all the time is, hey, once you walk through those doors to go back in the kitchen in the back of the house, you can say and do anything you want, right? But as long as customers never know what's the chaos going on behind those doors, it's fine. And that's what it is a lot of times. And no 2 days are the same. You never know what curveball you're going to get. But it's such a great industry because you learn to adapt and change on the fly and handle situations as they arise. And the best thing for me, though, in 30 years of doing this is the people that I've met, the customers that I've met that I now consider friends, and the relationships that you establish with those guys. And, restaurants are four walls. And every single restaurant's got a hood, every single restaurant's got a front door, back door, and four walls in it, right?
Hopefully.
What makes the difference is the people that come in, right? And so I've moved from around to a lot of our restaurants. I've worked at 119th and Metcalf. I've worked in North Lawrence. I've worked in downtown. And you may see the mayor of Kansas City come in downtown, right? You may see the
What restaurant's right across the street that you can see him walking in and out of?
Where's that at?
Downtown.
Yeah, the Power and Light District one? Yeah.
What is the restaurant across the street?
The T-Mobile Center's across
Yeah,
the street.
no, the going north across the street from you. Aren't there a whole bunch of restaurants?
Yeah, I
on the
mean, the
street?
McFadden's, the Bristol.
That's
the
where
whole
you see
Power
the
and Light.
mayor walking in and
Yeah,
out.
probably so. Yes, thank you. But the CEO of Sprint may show up over there.
Right.
But it's all. But then again, I get during the Big 12, guys, farmers from Iowa will show up, and so it's
That's
just
cool.
a different group of people. You never know who's going to walk in the door.
Let me bring this full circle. What was your education?
I was college educated,
And what did you study?
public speaking,
And
political science, philosophy.
his biggest heartache probably every day is those 1,000 employees. And that is probably part of your education that you're using. The only part of your education that you're using is how to handle those 1,000 employees, of which some of them are probably drama queens.
Right. But here, I grew up in a town with one stoplight and one police car, and they both quit working at 9:00 every day. Somebody would hit the switch, and the stoplight would turn off, and the police chief would go home and go to bed. And that's the town I grew up in. And but then I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma for a while, and I had a chance to travel a lot of different places growing up. And I ended up living in Lawrence for a while and in Kansas City. And so I think being able to relate to all different types of people from all different walks of life have helped me a lot in the journey of being able to run successful restaurants. I'll never forget this, and I'll kind of end on this note. It's a great deal. The first Big 12 tournament we ever had down at the Power and Light District, and we didn't know what to expect. We open at 7 a.m. and we're full, and
At 7 a.m. you're full.
Yeah, it's nonstop.
And you're
the
serving
entire
breakfast.
We take all the chairs out, so
Right.
because it's standing room only, you can move
Wow.
more people in. I mean, it's just we're doing breakfast, the whole 9 yards. And there was a guy sitting at the bar in overalls drinking beer.
At 7 a.m.
Well, this may have been at 10 or 11 in the morning. And I was
Oh, 10
like,
o'clock
how
in
you
the
doing?
morning.
He's like, good. I'm in from Iowa State. Hey, what do you do? I farm up there, that kind of deal. And we were talking, and I said, yeah. I go, I've been coming in at 5 a.m. this week, and I may get to leave at midnight. I'm doing it for 3 or 4 days in a row. And I wasn't complaining. I was just sharing
Sure.
what I was doing. He took a long drink off of beer and set the beer down on the table, and he looked at me and he said, young man, that's why they put lights on a combine. He said, when it's time to bring the crops in, you got to work. And I've never forgotten that. I was like, that's perfect. I was like, I'll never complain again about anything. Not that I was, but I always thought, that's
The guy who's
Perspective.
working 8 to 8 is only working part-time.
right. That's right.
Because what is he doing the other 8 to 8? Half-time he's working, half-time he's not working. It's a
Yeah.
part-time job.
Yeah.
8 to 8 is a part-time job.
Yes.
Mr. Kyle Witherspoon, thank you very much.
Johnny's
Thank you.
Tavern.
Johnny's Tavern.
Thank you. That was the plugs, everything.
Whoa. Kyle is going to give us some gift certificates for Johnny. So if anybody texts us, emails, or stops us on the street and wants to have a free little taste of wings and some of his homemade beer, Kyle's going to subsidize some of it, maybe not all of it. And it'd be his pleasure to share with all the listeners at the What's Up show.
I would love to. And the only caveat is if you come in and use it, I'd love for you to ask for me. So at least I can meet you and get to know you and shake your hand and say hi.
Isn't that
So
wonderful?
that's fantastic.
Thank you very much, brother.
Big Bob, thank you. Great seeing you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Need to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Well, I love God, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a business owner. I get to steward a business. Hi there, I'm Lucas Ngala. I'm the founder, owner, and CEO of Watchman Security Services. We specialize in building security solutions like video surveillance, access control, intrusion, and fire alarm systems. For multifamily communities, we help provide a smart apartment experience and community Wi-Fi access that you can provide for your tenants. So whether you're a commercial or multifamily developer, property manager, or an owner of commercial office buildings, we tailor our security services to fit your very specific needs. We allow you to focus on your core business while we ensure the safety of your people and your investments. You can depend on Watchman for reliable protection and seamless connectivity. Visit our website at www.watchmankc.com or call us at 816-744-8900.
I'm Big Bob.
Hi, man.
What's up?